Bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Freeform Network and send in those questions and suggestions for us, ffnquestions@gmail.com. This is Freeform Radio. My name is Daniel. Today we got Andy.
It's all good, Andy, and I wanna hope everybody had a good Christmas and New Year's. By the time this episode drop, everybody went through the holidays. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
And we got Noel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad to be here right now.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so the whole crew is back together, like Andy mentioned. By the time this drops, it will be post Christmas. So hopefully everybody had a good one with their families and spent some time, regardless of what thing you celebrate, whether it's Christmas or holidays. But let's jump into this week. Mr. Andy, tell us, this is maybe a prelude to some of the conversation later on with our article, but Hulu, man, are you renewing? Why? Why not? Fill us in on your thought process here.
So we just went through Black Friday, and I've been renewing Hulu every Black Friday because they have a deal. I rotate between two emails. You told me about that deal a while back.
Right.
I think you got it at $1.99, and then the first year I signed up, I got it for $1.99. Then it went back to 99. Then this year it went up to $1.99. I signed up again, but right now, at the time I was talking to my wife, I'm like, I really don't know why. I think it was just like a habit that I have.
Right.
Because I do watch it. I was watching the Orville. Some of the FX shows are on there which is good. I like the Family Guy,
right,
and all that. But Disney owns Hulu, and from my understanding, they were going to put a big chunk of the adult shows on Hulu. But I think slowly they've made some things recently where in the past where it sounds like they're going to make Disney Plus their main streaming platform and but shut it down or merge or something, because the two owners of Hulu is Disney and Comcast, and but Disney has a majority stake in it, and so shows like Family Guy and those adult themes, Bob's Burgers and American Dad, that's all on Hulu. And then all those FX shows like American Horror Story, Atlanta, all that stuff is there.
Mayans, Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. And I don't know. I did try watching the Mayans when I first got it. I didn't get into it. I thought it was going to be better. I didn't like it as much as Sons of Anarchy. I did watch the Family Guys. I watch them in binges once in a while, where I'm just like I'll watch like a season in like a couple of days, and I'm like, I'm good for a while, because it gets real fucking repetitive. And then the last thing I saw was the original series, The Fool. I kind of like that, but I used to watch a lot of the old programming like NYPD Blue, Wonder Years for a while, but then I'm just like, I want to watch some new stuff. So I don't know, man. I don't know why I signed up to it. They have the new season of The Simpsons are on there, and they just aired. Then they remove it and then put it on Disney Plus. Like I said, I think it's just a habit. I don't know. Maybe next year I probably won't get it. But I don't watch it. It's not like my go-to thing to watch anything lately. You guys, I think you still have it, Daniel. I don't know if you've ever had it, Noel.
No. I've seen a few things though. Have you watched the prequel, the Predator one called Prey?
Yeah, I heard about it. I saw the trailer, but it didn't intrigue me.
No,
I
that
know I
looks
saw the
cool.
trailer on Hulu. Yeah.
I have Hulu, but man, I still got to catch up and watch that. But that does look pretty cool. But I get what you're saying, Andy. Hulu typically isn't my go-to, and I still do have it for like the past 3 4 years. And I usually just watch old shows, like you were saying, Sons of Anarchy. I was watching Lost on there, um, X Files, basically anything on Fox. I was watching, and I kind of use it for that. Movies, not so much, but yeah, Alana watches her Golden Girls on there and stuff like that. So yeah, it's more like as long as it's a buck or two, I think it's doable. Once you get up to the $10 a month kind of thing, I would definitely question if I would have Hulu or not at that price.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't beat the price, but still, I'm like, right now it doesn't have like great programming. It does have a pretty good back catalog um, of like shows and movies. But again, it's just I don't know. I feel like I mean for $2, what can I fucking say? But it is yeah. I feel not that it's a waste, but I don't know. I think I want to watch the Orville, but I was reading the reviews on that last season, and I didn't like the new take where they took the show.
Yeah, they
And
changed it a lot, right? Because
yeah,
it's a new producer or something, or some big change what happened.
yeah, they did a couple of the ideology and stuff of the main program, the executive producer and all that, and it kind of like I don't know. I read the first couple episodes reviews and I'm like, great, like they're doing all this woke shit or some of it, and I'm like, it kind of turned me off. Maybe I'll watch it um down the road, but I don't know. I'm in no rush to watch it now. And then that's about it. I mean, there's nothing else on there where like I gotta watch this. It's on Hulu. On top of it, it has ads. Like I popped in. I was watching a movie the other day, an old one, a catalog movie, Grandma's Boy. And I was watching, and commercials popped up. I remember in the past when you put a movie on, there wasn't commercials, so that was like not that it pissed me off. I was just like, it kind of annoyed me. I kind of lost interest in it. I got like halfway through it.
What other subscription services do you have right now?
So that I pay for, or as part of anything, I pay for Hulu. We pay for Prime, which is part of our thing, Amazon Prime. That's it. We get HBO Max through our cell phone provider. Everything else is
Stolen. Uh-huh.
no, it's sharing. But that's the only ones that I
Netflix
pay
is
for.
they're coming for you, man. I keep reading
I
articles.
haven't had Netflix in like 4 years,
Ah, okay.
and then that also Netflix kind of fell off. They're hemorrhaging money too, and I did when I signed up to Hulu, they were pushing the Disney on me, and I think for an extra like what was it, $3 or $4? I think it was $3 because it's gonna come out to $5.99. I could have gotten Disney Plus and Hulu, and I told my wife like, "You want Disney Plus?" She's like, not really," and I'm like, "Fuck it," and like I didn't get it. Oh, and I got Peacock, which is part of my internet. Um, that one's all right because it has WWE Network. Um, and I like American Greed. That's on there, but that has ads too. But it's okay. And then, I mean, who doesn't have Pluto, right? I watch more Pluto than I do Hulu
Right?
sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes I put Next Generation on, and I just got to cruise it in the background, and I'm
They
like,
have like a
I,
'90s channel. Yeah, it's
I'm paying
pretty
for
good.
all these subscriptions, and I'm watching Pluto over here.
Pluto. You know who's gotten good too? Tubi. That's
Yeah.
the one that Fox owns. Tubi's all right, and I heard there's a new one, Freevee or something, or
Right.
my wife's watching a lot of that because it has Judge Judy on there. But they're like a Prime or something. They have like a channel in that. I don't know, but I watch that, and so again, like all this streaming stuff is like I don't know, it's just like a habit. Like when we got Netflix, I was just like, oh yeah, this is cool, but I mean, there's nothing new. I mean,
I
I
noticed you
don't
guys
like it.
don't mention Amazon. Do you guys watch Amazon Prime at all?
Dude,
Yeah,
to me, Amazon is weak, man. It's like the weakest of
and they
not.
just bought a studio. They bought
You,
MGM.
you're
So
telling me you don't like Upload, you don't like The Boys, you don't like Jack Ryan. Those are some good shows.
Yeah,
Jack
I
Ryan
got
was all right.
the boys. Yeah, the boys are good. I didn't see this last season that they put out, but I did. I did like the boys. Now you mention it.
And then they got Invincible, that's the animated show.
I still haven't watched that, but everybody keeps saying that it's a great show.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
worth a
there's a
watch.
lot of memes and gifs for it. That's all I know. But I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
to me, I guess Prime is other than the video stuff. I'm getting kind of tired of just paying a hundred and change every year to have free shipping, kind of okay videos, and then their music sucks. So it, they're they're getting kind of on my nerves, almost to the point where I told Alana, I'm like, next year when the renewal comes around, we really got to think about if we're going to keep it, because I have the yearly subscription where I just pay the whole year to get a little bit of a discount.
yeah, you do get a discount. I was telling my wife.
Right. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you pay the entire year, you save like $10 or $20, something like that. But so now I'm locked in until I think September. But come around next year, I'm gonna really think about it because I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be the winning contender versus Hulu's $2 a month thing.
Well, and if you go to school, don't they give you like a special price if you're a student?
Yeah, for 2 or 3 years they give you half the price discount, but you could only
Uh,
use it for 2 3 years, and then I already used it
mm,
when I was going to school, and I used the discount.
so you're like a 50-year-old student?
Right, right.
I mean, I guess it depends on how often you purchase on Amazon, and I purchase food through there, Amazon Fresh, and that's every week. So let's say it was like $3 to $5 every week that I buy something, I'm looking at about 150 to $200 in shipping alone. So that's one of the reasons why I do have the Prime subscription. But the video and stuff, I always thought was just a bonus. Like I never even had that when I first signed up to Amazon. They they rolled that out after I already had subscribed, and I was like, oh shit, this is just a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Amazon's pretty good. The Amazon pictures, you can upload all your pictures unlimited and documents, and they got audio books and a bunch of other stuff. So definitely, if you're consuming all these different branches of it's probably worth its money. But when you're unsatisfied with a couple of the main ones, in particular, the videos haven't really appetized me, and then the music has been really dissatisfactory to me. I could drive anywhere to pick up what I need. And if you, to be honest, I even brought this up to Alana yesterday. If you look at the pricing that Amazon does, compare it to like Walmart sometimes they're beating their price. So to me, I'm like, well, I'd rather drive 5 minutes to Walmart and pick it up than,
Yeah,
pay a little bit more at Amazon.
you do have a point on that. I have seen some price differences that I was like, why the hell are they charging so much? Even
Right,
for like regular items. There was like a Blu-ray that I wanted to get, and they were saying on Amazon, it's like, oh, it's 46% off. Normally it's like $40.
right,
And
right.
then I look at Walmart, I'm like, this shit's always like $20. What the fuck? Like, where's it? Why is it overpriced on Amazon? And then they're making it seem like it's a huge sale. It's like it's not. You're just taking off a few dollars compared to Walmart.
I noticed they started doing that. I think it's to get people to see that 57% off and be like, oh my God, I gotta buy this because it's half off right now. And
Mm-hmm.
in reality, it's just a bloated price to make it look like it's, a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to use Amazon more because we do have an Amazon Visa, and we get 5% back on the purchases, and we do have the rewards. Usually, like around this time, we use it to do a couple things with it. Um, and I was telling my wife, like, I think if you're a teacher or student or something, if you pay once a year, you save a couple. But yeah, I didn't think it was gonna be like half off, but I was thinking like $10-20 or something, but it also, they're starting to do some same day deliveries or next day on a lot of their products, so they improved on that some. The food for me on there's always been hit or miss. I did read something that it's an issue that they have at Amazon is food that people, they sell expired food, or
Damn.
they have like quality issues, so
Jesus.
that
You know,
that that has been an issue. I saw a documentary about that on two different, one on PBS and the other one on CNBC.
I could speak on that a little bit because, like I said, I get it every week through Fresh, and there have been on occasion, maybe like 2 or 3 times out of the whole year. So that's, let's say, 50 weeks in a row. Maybe 2 or 3 times where I'll get something that's not expired, but it's days from being expired, like chicken. And that's like I eat that every week. I get chicken every week. So when it comes in and it's telling me I have to cook or freeze it by like 3 days from now, I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like that's not enough time. I should have at least like a 5 day window minimum, so I can like prepare the food and do what I'm gonna do because I might not be able to cook it that same day or the next day because I have stuff going on. So yeah, I can attest to the sometimes it'll be not expired but close to.
Right. And I think if you're trying to eat that healthier lifestyle, that definitely is a bonus to Amazon, that fresh market thing.
That being said, let us know what you guys think of Amazon if you're ordering that food, if you dealt with that expired or near expired, or quality issues on the food at ffnquestions@gmail.com. But with that being said, I'm gonna do a hard transition here to Noel. I think last time we talked, you were able to find a PS5. You're breaking it in. What's going on with that? See, I noticed here you did something with the PS5.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it was a pretty big expense. So I was like, I want to like make it worth it. So I've been trying to use it more often. I have a nice computer and everything. I could do most of it on there, but I'm like, let me put this PS5 to use. The reason I got it was for the 4K Blu-rays because I don't have a 4K player. So yeah, I've been like trying to test out some new Blu-rays, and I got Inglourious Basterds in 4K. It just got delivered on I think it was Monday. So I watched that this past Monday, or it was maybe Tuesday. I think I watched it the day after. But man, I love that movie, dude. That's one of my like all-time favorite movies,
Really?
especially of Quentin Tarantino's. Yeah, like it was a good movie in general,
Better
but
than Pulp
then
Fiction?
uh it's up there, man. It's up there with in terms of my favorite of Quentin's. I
Okay.
like Inglorious. I like Pulp Fiction. Uh, Reservoir Dogs, even though it's like one of his best, I put a little like it's maybe like my fourth favorite. I think number three, man, it's got to be. I
Jackie
think
Brown, man.
oh, you know what? Yeah, it's hard, man. He has so many good movies. Jackie Brown is definitely on my top five. That's
Yeah,
probably like
that's a good one, man.
that's probably number four. Number five would be Reservoir, but number three I think is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, man. That one
Yeah,
was so good.
I don't want to take over your talk, man, but Inglorious Bastards and Once Upon a Time, both movies, I got halfway through and I had to quit. I just couldn't do it. So I don't know what
Man,
it
dude.
was, but I quit on both of those. And maybe I got to give him another shot. Maybe I got to go back and try again.
I highly recommend it, dude. Inglorious Bastards the way he does the movies is like he makes it in a way where he takes a really like big villain and then he makes a way that the hero will save the day and have you like tie yourself into that hero. And even though it's like biographically, sometimes there's like for Inglorious Bastards and for the Once Upon a Time, this is based on loosely based on history, like the Tate murders and Nazi Germany, and he makes it in a way where he rewrites the history so that the hero wins in like incredible fashion. And so I love that part about it. At the end of Glorious Bastard, well, I'm not going to spoil it actually, since you haven't seen it. Um, but man, it's so good. You really got to watch it so I can
I
tell you
got it.
what's going on, dude.
I got it on my hard drive, and I don't want to delete it. Every time I look at it, I'm clearing up space. I'm like, should I delete this? And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna watch it one of these days and give it another shot. But yeah, that and Once
What's
Upon a
wrong with
Time.
it? Why can't you finish it?
It's weird because his dialogue and his story is what gets you through. And Pulp Fiction, I think, is great because of that. Reservoir Dogs is great. Jackie Brown is great because of that. But for whatever reason, Inglorious Bastards, when I was listening, I don't know if it was the dialogue because he does have some like other languages, and I don't know if that's what disconnected me. And Once Upon a Time, I think I was just not in the right mindset because I've heard that that's a really good one with the Bruce Lee stuff, and it's just got a lot of cool stuff in there. So I just think I got to give it another shot. Once Upon a Time, I think I'll be fine, but Inglorious, that's the one that I tried and I just I couldn't get through it, and I was just like, I could keep watching it and hate it after I'm done, or I could just stop and be like, I've never really watched the whole thing.
Yeah, it is a longer movie. His movies tend to be like a little bit over 2 hours, usually 2.5. So, I mean, I get it. Some people don't want to watch a movie that long, but to me, it was like I was hooked the whole way through. And just having a good movie about like World War II that isn't like, because I've seen Saving Private Ryan. I've seen a few movies about World War II, but this one does it in a different way, um, and it's more like brutal and in a good way, like for the heroes to win. And I really enjoyed it, man. I don't want to spoil anything. It's hard for me not to like go into detail of why I like it because I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, so that was one of the movies I watched, and Tremors, the original
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
movie. Yeah, Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward. You had some good actors in there, and like the whole vibe of the first one had that more of a horror aspect, whereas the sequels kind of like trailed off into more like comedy. Um,
Yeah, I think the sequels with that Family Ties guy, it got kind of weird and hokey towards the like part 3 or 4 or whatever, however many
Wasn't
they
there a
came out with.
wasn't there a TV show, a Tremors
Maybe.
TV show? I
maybe.
think on Sci-Fi.
They beat that like fucking dead, dude. They beat that
Right.
horse dead, man. It's been so many different things with it, but the original movie stands on its own and it still holds up to this day. To me, it's a legitimate like good movie that has an interesting horror element to it, where it's not like the creature doesn't talk, it doesn't have dialogue, but it still keeps you focused on it. Like it keeps you intrigued and hooked, and it shows intelligence without like actually having dialogue. I thought that was really cool for like a horror
Yeah.
character, kind of like the Blob, you know?
So going back to Tremors real quick, it lasted. There was a show on Sci-Fi. It lasted one season, and there was a 10 episode show from March of through August of 2003.
Oh wow, that was a while back then, almost 20 years. Sheesh.
It it
Well,
does it, it does have uh, uh I mean, I don't know, the 70% I just watch and 6.5 on IMDb, so they don't
yeah.
completely shit on it.
I think they got a cult following. I think that Tremors franchise has like a cult following that people watch, kind of like the American Pies. Some of the later ones are really terrible, but some people love it. Some people they love that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, if the first one didn't do as good as it did, I don't think it would have been able to be that franchise. But I mean, it had some memorable actors. What's his name? I think it was Victor Wong. I can't even remember exactly his name, but the guy from Big Trouble in Little China. He was also in Three Ninjas. Uh, yeah, he
Right.
played. Yeah, he was one of the like the food station owners. Like he ended up dying pretty early on. Then, like you said, the guy from Family Ties, he was in it. You had the country singer. What was her name? Reba McEntire, I think is her name. Yeah, you had some pretty cool actors in it, and it was interesting to see like just them all in this horror movie.
So the movies, yeah, they're good. But how was the 4K? Did it like wow you, or did it go like, I can get this on my computer kind of thing?
Uh, I will say that so 4K remastered of an old movie will stand up. Like it looks great. And I actually played like the 1080p version that I had on my drive, and it looks better. You can see like strands of hair, and it looks clear, looks crisp. Especially when you're looking at like the backgrounds and stuff, like the floor and the dirt and the rocks, because there's a lot of scenery there. They're in Arizona, I think it is. So there's a lot of mountains and rocks and all this shit, and it looks great. It looks beautiful. I think my TV is also a limitation. This 4K TV I have is great. I'm very happy with it, especially for the price I paid, which was like 600. This is like years back, like in 2020, 2019, something like that. But the TVs now, OLED and all that, I think if I had one of those, it would pop even more, and it would have true HDR brightness. Because so my cousin Ismail was telling me all this stuff, all the info about HDR and stuff, and he's like, the TV I have, while it's good, it doesn't have the peak brightness to really make HDR pop. So I can't give you a definitive review. All I can do is compare it to the 1080p version, which, yeah, the 4K, I mean, is so much better. Yeah.
So compared to with an old gen 4K TV, it's okay. Because I agree with you. My TV also has simulated HDR. It's not true HDR or what you would consider true HDR nowadays. Because I bought my 4K even before yours. And I was mentioning to Alana the other day because my apps, the smart apps, they're terrible, man. They're always crashing. So I don't know if it's a Samsung thing or if it's the apps themselves. And my wife's like, well, just go out and get a new TV. And I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, just go buy another one. Just go buy another 4K. I don't even want to go down the rabbit hole because if I get everything that I want to get, the TV will probably be like 2 grand because I'm gonna want like you know I'm gonna want the 120 refresh rate, and I'm gonna want all these like bells and whistles, HDR, and so man, I'm
The
like I don't even want to think about.
QLED.
Yeah, like I don't even want to think about it, man.
Yep, no, I'm saving for mine. I'm happy with what I got. Like, I have no higher expectations for right now. I'm just gonna enjoy the movie. It looks good. Resolution is great. The color looks good. There's always gonna be better, and that's the thing. Like, I think our society is chasing that. Like, that's gonna be what makes you happy. It's like happiness comes from enjoying what you have, not like always chasing what's next, because there's always gonna be a next. Once you get that OLED, you're gonna be like, oh, I want that fucking quantum fucking vortex OLED fucking version 3.8 or whatever the fuck. And it's always gonna be something next that you're gonna want, and it's just gonna be expensive, overpriced, and when you get it, you're gonna have that regret. Like I spent 3 grand on this. Like I still feel that emptiness. So that's why it's like people have to find a way to be happy with what we got. And I'm thankfully I'm in that state of mind where I'm happy with what I got. I'm very blessed. I am saving up for a newer TV, but I'm in no rush to get that because there's always new technology around the corner. Same with my computer. It's great, but it's reaching the end of its generation. The new generation is already here. I could upgrade, but at the same time, like I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for prices to drop and all that stuff. And later on, when I have the money set aside, I'll upgrade on that.
We'll see with this black Biden inflation, man, if prices will even drop ever.
For real, man, it's crazy right now. But yeah, just to kind of wrap up what I've been up to here. Uh, I watched Carrie for the first time. I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie back in 19, I think it was 74 or 6. It's an old
That's with
movie.
John Travolta, right?
It's
Yeah.
a horror movie.
You didn't like it? Oh man. I mean, all right. Well, I will say this. It's one of those movies where it's a slow burn. It leads up with a lot of like filler, just like stuff that didn't need to be there, a lot of empty scenes that it didn't really get you to invest in the character. But what made it worth it to me was the end. And it was like the last 15 minutes, I want to say. So you watch like an hour and 20 to get the payoff in the last 15 minutes when she goes all ape shit on her whole fucking school and shit. Uh, And for you guys who haven't seen it, I'm gonna spoil it, man. This is like 50 years old, man. You guys got to watch it if you haven't. So this girl Carrie is getting bullied from the start of the movie. She actually she's like becoming a woman. She's in high school. She has her first period, and at the start of the movie, all the girls in the locker room like chastise her and like bully her, and her mom is a single mom. Her dad ran away with some woman and she never saw him again. Her mom was so just like wrought with grief and just anger that she took it out on the daughter and was super hyper religious and like made her like follow a certain strict code, always repenting, always like praying to God for forgiveness and acting like she was a sinner. And so she had a lot of like repressed anger. Um, and this girl it just bottled up to the point where she developed this telekinesis that could actually manipulate things around her. She could shut doors, close windows, move things with her mind. And then she started looking into it and reading books about it and like kind of mastering this ability. And later on in the movie, they they come up with this plan to have somebody take her on a date for prom, and it was kind of leading up to prom. This whole movie was leading up to that, and they finally take her on this date to prom, and they end up making her win the prom queen. And when she goes up to the stage to accept her, whatever thing, like to have her moment, right? Somebody had set up a bucket of blood or like red paint on the top of this like scaffolding
I
by
think
the
it was like
stage.
pig's blood, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
that's what I
Because
remember.
they went and killed a pig. John Travolta was with like some of the people there, and they went and killed a pig on a farm. You're right. I forgot about that part. But yeah, they spill the blood on her, and she goes fucking ape shit, dude. She murks everybody, almost everybody in that place, and use her telekinesis to like set fire to a bunch of stuff. People burned to death, and then she like had things exploding. And at one point, this girl and John Travolta are chasing her in a car. They're gonna about to run her over, and she makes the car flip over like 20 times and then explode into like a ball of fire. And you just see the two people burning to death in there. I was just like, okay, this is next level, dude. Like, it was pretty like tame up until that point. That was crazy. So, while it's not like the greatest movie of all time or nothing, uh, it paid off in the end. It was worth the time I had watched it. And it's a horror movie that I had to get on, that notch on that belt because I'm a horror enthusiast and so yeah, I had to watch it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I don't have like a huge fondness for it, but it was an okay movie. I watched it a few years back.
For sure, man. Well, yeah, let's switch it over to you, Daniel. Looks like here, man, you said you beat Zelda Link's Awakenings on Switch?
Yeah, man. I picked up a Switch game during Black Friday. One of my purchases here is yeah, it's an old game. It actually originally released on Andy's favorite handheld, Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and they redid the game for Switch. So that's the one I played. That's the version I played,
And a
the
green
Switch one.
screen.
Yeah, it's not the green screen version that from Game Boy and Game Boy Color. But yeah, it's the Switch, and man, the graphics looks awesome on it. It's what really called me because I really like that Link to the Past Zelda, that top isometric view of it. And this is that style game, kind of different from the Breath of the Wilds, the 3D ones that they've been doing lately. So I picked it up, man, and I did everything I can do in there, man. I almost 100% the whole thing, but there were some challenges that were even a little more than what I can deal with. But I about as 100% as much as any kind of average Joe can do. And it was super satisfying, and I was really content and happy that I had picked it up. And it took me a little bit over the 2-3 weeks to beat it. It's kind of on the shorter side because it is originally a Game Boy Color, and they did add a few things here and there. But really cool Switch game. Unfortunately, Switch games prices don't drop too much, or specifically the Nintendo games of them. All the other junk stuff, those constantly drop in price. But the Mario's, the Zeldas, the Metroids, those things never drop in price hardly. So I
What
had to
was the
get it.
price for them?
I think it was 35 for Black Friday for Switch,
Damn.
and that's usually a little high for my price range. You got to be in that 20, 15, $10 range for me to be like, all right, let me look at you and see if I want to buy you.
Now is that
Uh,
1080p?
I think they do upscale it because the Switch, I think when you go handheld, it goes 720, and then when you dock it, it goes up to 1080.
Okay.
So, um, yeah, it looked cool because of that cartoony aesthetic. So it looked nice, and the game controlled very well. It had all these new mechanics, and it was one of the Zelda games that had a jump button. So really cool, man. Cool game for you Zelda purists out there that you want an old style game because maybe you're not digging this three dimension Zelda route that they're going now. Really cool game for you people to go out there and watch. Um, Something else that I wanted to bring up. I've been getting a lot of Christmas cards, because like we mentioned at the top, by the time you hear this, Christmas is gone and past. But what I've kind of surprised me this year is that I've been getting a lot more cards that say Happy Holidays than Merry Christmas. And now, trust me, man, if people feel like putting Happy Holidays on their card, it's better than nothing. But to me, some of these cards that I've been receiving in my house, they're from like OG Catholic Christian people. And for people to be putting happy holidays, to me, it's almost like, has the wokeness got to these people? And are they scared of getting the social media mob on them and kind of start ridiculing them like, hey, how dare can you like Jesus Christ, and how dare can you put in my face Merry Christmas. So it just seemed really weird. And again, I don't care. People can put whatever they feel comfortable with. But I know we've had conversations off the air where, to me, I say Merry Christmas. If you're not down with JC, that's fine. Don't. Hopefully, it doesn't offend you because I don't mean it in an offensive way. If you were to tell me Happy Hanukkah, I would reply with, "Yeah, Merry Christmas to you." And it wouldn't offend me. It wouldn't offend me that you're into Hanukkah and I'm into JC. It's all good the same.
For real, man. Nah, I agree. And sometimes I think it's like people are kind of hypocritical though, if especially if they judge. Like if they're neutral and they're like, "Oh yeah, whatever, happy holidays, Christmas," whatever you tell them or whatever they tell you is just like a positive vibe, then it's all good. But if they get offended that you tell them Merry Christmas, then to me it's like, well, then don't take that day off. Go to work that day. Because why are you gonna enjoy the holiday being like, paid and everything, get the day off, but you're offended at it? You know what I mean? It's kind of like double standards there.
Yeah, and I am sensitive to the whole Christmas thing. I have a new neighbor at work in the next cubicle of me that I usually don't work with, and I was playing some Christmas music, and I went up to him after like a day or two. I'm like, I better ask this guy. I'm like, hey, I hope Christmas music doesn't offend you, or you have any issues with that. And he's just like, no, by no means. Go ahead and play what you're gonna play, but thank you for asking. And then I just kept going because I do know that some people are sensitive about it.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
does
I
that
don't.
limit you if whatever you're doing? Does it by you letting them know? I mean, did you feel like you had to let them know?
Well, I just wanted to be courteous. Like I don't need to play it out loud. Most people at work, or at least in our environment in the engineering room, we all listen to music in our headphones. But because it was Christmas music, I figured, hey man, let me put it on kind of like on my speaker, not too loud either, so it's not like it's blasting through the whole office. But if you walk up to my desk, you can hear it. So this guy being the next neighbor of mine, I'm sure he can hear a little bit of it. So I just wanted to be courteous to him, because if it did bother him or he didn't like Christmas music or whatever the case would be, I would just go back to listening to it on my headphones. But yeah, the Christmas card thing, it stuck out to me this year, and I'm kind of curious if it's starting to reach, because you see all this Xmas holiday stuff, which again, whatever, but I think it's starting to reach some of those second, third generation Catholic Christians that their parents were and their grandparents were Catholics, and now you're getting down to like this third or fourth generation, and now they're like, I'm cool with happy holidays. I don't need
The,
to state Christmas.
they're not even Christers, where they go to the
Right,
church on
Easter, yeah,
Christmas and Easter.
right.
Did you see any cards that said Noel or anything? That's
No,
like
no,
that's another one that's
is
disappearing.
it?
You used to see that a lot, like the Noel, and then I don't even know what that means. I just remember as a kid I saw it, and you hear there's songs about it and everything. Yeah, you don't even see that no more. Like it's completely gone. I feel from any of the lexicon of
Ooh,
Christmas. Is
fancy
the
word for a Latino.
hey man, I can't help it that I read books once in a while.
Nice.
From the Christmas nomenclature there, but everybody's like, yeah. I mean, to me, it's like you say what you will, but America is a Christian country. That's what it was founded on. I know people dismiss it, but basically all that stuff's Christmas and all that was founded on uh, that based off of that uh, faith. I don't want to say religion, faith, but today it's just like you said, man. It's people are so, and today it's something that you never really talked about, but today people are so open about just expressing how everything makes them feel.
Right.
That's why we're in this kind of fucking mess. I'm sure you just we're at a point where sometimes it just because you talk about how it makes you feel doesn't mean that it's right. So you just um so I don't know. I to me that's what I celebrate is Christmas. So I still say Merry Christmas. I know we've talked about it here in the past on the podcast, but people down with Kwanzaa or Hanukkah, Ramadan, that's what they do. I mean, who am I to say you can't do that, But I just know that I celebrate that, and that's what I'm supposed to do. Say Merry Christmas.
Right. And now, but like I mentioned, I don't care if like Walmart has happy holidays when you walk into the store. I don't start waving my fist and like, damn you, where's Christmas? I don't care. You can put happy holidays. I get you're a corporation. I get you're a company. Maybe you don't want to put that up front. Maybe Chick-fil-A will put Merry Christmas because they're more of a Christian restaurant, but I get it. So to me, I don't care. But what strike me a little bit this year was that Christmas cards, and that's more of your personal greetings to whoever you sent it to tell them, hey, have a good holidays, have a Merry Christmas. And I just found it weird that
Well,
it's
well,
proportionally more happy holidays.
well, just think about that. Then Christmas is the only holiday where they want to generalize it. They don't generalize anything else. They don't sell turkey, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Memorial Day. The only one they somewhat kind of do is Easter. They put the bunny because that's again another big Christian holiday, and then Good Friday is another big one, but they change it to they equate it to they kind of ball it in there with Mardi Gras and that with Fat Tuesday and all that, where people are just drinking and going crazy in New Orleans. They kind of lump it into there, try to get it away from faith, uh, from its faith for Christians. So that's why some people that's why people are like we got to keep the Christ and Christmas crowd. I personally don't care, but I understand their point of view because they're asking you to celebrate this holiday with them, buy from their stores, but don't say those words. So it's kind of it's like a weird thing, and that's why I get why people get all bent out of shape about it. But again, it's they just generalize it like, oh, winter holiday or happy holidays and stuff like that. So
Right, right. But yeah, other than that, I did watch a documentary. This is a while ago, so I kind of forgot a lot of the details. But I don't know if you guys ever seen it. You say you don't have Netflix, Andy, but Woodstock '99. Now, I didn't know much about the original Woodstock or even this Woodstock '99, but the documentary on Netflix, man, it was pretty interesting because they go into the back scenes of Woodstock, and it just shows you how much of a shit show the '99 one was. That the corporations, which Woodstock is kind of against, kind of creeped in and kind of just took over, and everything got budget cost to the max, to the point where there was people spending an abundance of money and they just weren't getting what they were supposed to. Food and water was outsourced to a third party company, and they started charging, like $10 a bottle kind of stuff, and it was just ridiculous. And this documentary goes into how the show towards the end, because they kept hyping up the ending, the last day, it's going to be great. That it just became a huge debacle, man, where there was fires and there was just people getting hurt and injured, and even people like women being like sexually assaulted. So huge issues with that. Woodstock '99. It was definitely not the loving Woodstock that the original one was. So I'm just curious, have you guys even heard of this documentary or seen it?
I haven't. I mean, I've seen stuff on Woodstock '99 and talked about where they talk about how the corporations got in there and everything was super expensive and like there was a lot of problems with the porta johns and running out of stuff,
Right,
and I think they started like tearing shit up and burning it if I remember correctly, right? The
right.
last day or the night before or something.
Yeah, for sure, man. It was definitely, again, I didn't know too much about the original one, but it seemed to have lost its feeling of the original one, if that's what they were going for, was kind of bringing that feel back. But it was a pretty good documentary for you guys interested in stuff like that. I always could go down for a good documentary if there's any out there. So send them in, ffnquestions@gmail.com. But guys, I think it's time to get into it. Let's get into our article of the week. All right, our article of the week. Pretty light reading here, but this article comes from The Verge. Westworld is leaving HBO Max. Once one of the big shows that they had, man, it was like one of the big things that they were the originals of this TV show, and there was like one of their huge shows, and now it's gone. And not only did they cut the TV show and cancel it, but they're also removing it from the network, which to me, when I first heard about it, I thought it was really weird. I'm like, why are they removing it from the TV show? And I guess from reading a little bit more and more just from this article and a few other places that I checked out, I guess they sell the rights to other, like a Hulu, and they'll go like, Hulu, do you want to show Westworld? And they'll sell it to them, give us $1 billion, and you can broadcast it on your show. So the article goes into some different points about this and a few other shows that even after this article, a few more have gone down this route for HBO. And I didn't really know too much about how the corporation structure was, but from talking to Andy before we started recording, I guess Discovery bought Warner Brothers, and then Warner Brothers owns HBO Max. So just opening it up to the floor, what are you guys' thoughts about this Westworld leaving and some of the HBO Max movements that they've been doing?
So I read that Westworld left. I mean, the they originally planned to go for 5 seasons. I think they've wrapped up 4, but the ratings or the viewing got kind of trended down, and they're just like the new people came in when Discovery bought the Warners from AT&T. They just went in there and started hacking away, and ultimately, I think I read that Westworld and another show is going to go to Pluto. I think Pluto is the one that's going to get it. That's from the rumors that and some of the stuff that I read. But basically, the Warner people or Discovery is going to start hacking away and try to slash cost cutting all across the board. I read that they're going to license out the DC animated wing. You know, the DC animated is known. They release out great animated movies, and they licensed all that shit out to I think Amazon, if I read that correctly. They're gonna get the rights to that, and everything else they're just gonna who to the highest bidder who wants to stream this to reduce costs, and then they're really gonna focus on DC and revamp that, try to make that their moneymaker.
Yeah, dude, I'm a little bit disappointed as to the direction they went to, because they had some decent shows. Now CW is also part of all that, part of HBO, part of Warner, everything else, and they got bought out too in the whole merger and the Discovery thing. So with CW, they lost a ton of shows, and I wasn't too, worried about that because they actually had a lot of shows that were kind of like lower level. And they were like dying off already. Their viewership was kind of like dwindling. But the HBO Max shows, those were at a higher level, in my opinion. They have Doom Patrol, they have Titans, and I heard Titans might be getting canceled, and it's kind of disappointing because some of the DC shows on HBO Max were really entertaining for me as a comic book fan, and so just seeing the direction that DC is going in right now. I heard recently they got rid of Henry Cavill for
Yeah. Oh man,
Superman.
super
Yeah,
disappointing.
yeah, dude.
Well,
It's
yeah, that's why he tweeted or something like in October, I'm back. And then he had that cameo spoilers for Black Adam, and then the movie kind of like broke even, and people are saying it lost money. The Rock saying it didn't, and like that whole DC. Speaking of DC, just that whole backlog of movies like the Batman and the
The whole
Justice League,
universe.
Wonder Woman. That's all by Snyder and other people. They're like, fuck all that. We're getting rid of all that, and we're gonna start fresh. And I think I thought they were gonna reboot it around Henry Cavill, but
Right.
sounds like they're not doing that. They're gonna go completely fucking new. And they have a couple movies in the can. The Flash. It's been done for like a while, and they're still they don't know when they're gonna release it. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the new owner. He's putting all his eggs on DC, and he wants that like multiverse thing, like Marvel. Everything else is just like whatever, dude. I don't care. He licensed it out. He's putting that they're gonna make all their money back on that.
I guess the Guardians of the Galaxy director, he's the one in charge now
Yeah,
of
James
everything.
Gunn. Yeah.
Yeah, Gunn. And man, it's disappointing, man, because even though Wonder Woman is not a huge character that I watched, I thought the movies were okay. And I heard the part 3 got axed, and that's not going to go through. And then, like you mentioned, Harry Cavill quit Witcher because The Rock enticed him to come and reprise his role as Superman, and that he was going to do more Superman movies. And the original Warner Brothers that were like, yeah, we're going to really do Superman good. And then they decided to axe all of that and just reboot the whole thing and have a clean slate. The only one that's still on board technically is Aquaman, but I would suspect that maybe in the next couple months, maybe even that dude, that
Yeah.
James or whatever the guy's name, Samoan or Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I would suspect that he's gonna probably be gone too.
That
He is.
they were gonna they got Ben Affleck to commit to making that old Batman, And then there was reports coming out like a couple weeks ago that he doesn't want to do it no more. Like he's tired of it, and uh, he had meetings or something. There's a report out there too, and he's like, I'm done, and that pissed off the new owners, and it just like it's a bunch of little things, and ultimately they're just like, let's just fucking get rid of all these people. We pay them a ton of money. They don't want to do it. Fuck this. They will start and do our own thing from the beginning.
I
And
heard even Michael Keaton was going to do something where he was going to do Batman 2022 or whatever, that
but
Batman Beyond thing.
that's in
Yep.
the Flash. The Flash movie is like there's rumors that he uh they were gonna do like that multiverse shit in the Flash because he's gonna spit and run everywhere. And I mean, I don't know how far. There was rumors that they were gonna kill Keaton, that Batman, and put in the Batgirl from the CW. Like, there's all sorts of shit floating out there, and they've been a lot of reshoots. He filmed his parts for that movie, and I think Ben Affleck did too. And um, it's a fucking mess. And then that actor got in trouble with
Ezra Miller,
girls or something. I don't know. And
underage
yeah,
grooming
he
and
got
all
in
that stuff,
trouble.
dude.
So it's just sitting there. They re-edited it a couple times, and they just don't know what to do with the movie. They know there's been.
And the
I read
Amber
that they
Heard
are gonna
stuff
release it. Yeah, the Amber
with
Heard with
Johnny
Aquaman.
Depp.
Yes,
Dude, it's a shit show, man. It's a shit show. Could go
and
on and on.
but that's what I'm saying. Like DC is where then going forward, and then going back to the HBO Max, they paid they have the rights to Sesame Street and that whole catalog. They got rid of like almost a bunch of shows. Like I was reading 200 plus shows because they don't want to pay royalties to some of the old actors that are on the
200
show.
episodes.
Yeah, 200 plus episodes, and they don't want to pay royalties or whatever. It's all about just saving a buck. I think they're gonna try to recoup some of the money. He's just gonna just license out every property they can, and then and then they're gonna merge ultimately with Discovery. You know that, right? So he's gonna get rid of Max, and then they're just gonna make it like Discovery Max or something because they own CNN. As soon as they bought when the merger was done, he axed CNN Plus, and then he dumped all that crap onto Discovery. And I think he's gonna do the same with HBO Max, and just once he's done, it's all gonna be merged into one. They're talking about as early as next summer.
I think they're gonna lose a lot of money, even with all this stuff going on. I think, especially with the comic book stuff, there's a huge following, man. And DC's following isn't as big as Marvel's, which is probably why like the like box office isn't on the same level, why they're not making $1 billion off of each movie they make. But the following is still there, and the fact that they're not listening to their fans who have adamantly said they want Henry Cavill as Superman. Henry Cavill wants himself as Superman. I think that's going to be really bad. I've seen a lot of comments lately. They're like, I don't give a shit what movies you make in the future. We're not going to watch them. And it's like a unanimous thing with all the fans of DC. So we'll see what happens, man. The whole Ezra Miller stuff and the fact that the Flash has been pushed back for like 6 years or whatever it was, because Justice League came out, what was it, like 2019 or something like that?
Yeah.
And Flash was like in production before that because Justice League had the Flash in it, but like we never got the Flash movie. We just got the Justice League movie with him in it. And Aquaman, I heard he's stepping away because of the whole Amber Heard stuff. Although maybe it might be that Jason Momoa wants to step away before they axe him. You know what I mean? Before
I
they
think
fire him.
they're gonna. I think they're gonna say thank you, but you're free to do whatever you want. I think there's not gonna be no more Aquaman, and yeah, it's just they want a fresh new start going forward, and
Well,
they
I
want to.
think I think it's like you said, Andy. I think ultimately what happened is that a lot of these actors were tough to work with. We all know Ben Affleck has, his quirkiness. He was an alcoholic for a lot of this DC universe, and I think he's gotten better, but he's still a tough guy to deal with. And even though Henry Cavill, man, I'm a huge fan. I loved him in The Witcher. I liked him a lot as a Superman. I know he's with The Witcher in particular. A lot of the rumors were that they weren't doing The Witcher lore justice, and they were gonna kind of getting a little fresh with it and changing things up from the books and all the all the lore for it. That he's just like, hey, if you guys are gonna keep messing with the Witcher character, I'm outies. And I think they basically forced him out to the point where he's just like,
Yeah.
well, DC is gonna offer me all this money, I'm out of here.
I read that. I mean, again, another rumor was they kind of did push him out because they want to do more of a. I heard the next Witcher. I don't know if it's been cast. I mean, I remember seeing a video about it like a week that they want a woman Witcher or something, and they want to do some other stuff. And they're like, "Oh yeah, the series ain't doing great. It's because we got Henry Cavill. We need a woman, and we need this and that." And that's one of the reasons they're like, "You want to leave? Leave. We're good with it."
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a DC fan. I got kind of tired of Marvel when I was collecting comics, and I kind of gravitated towards the Batman, the Superman, and even a lot of the little smaller characters, you would say. But yeah, the movies I've enjoyed them. Definitely not to the Marvel point where like every Iron Man that came out was good kind of realm, or at least the rating. But I still like them, man. I still like the Man of Steels. I still like the Justice League's movies, the Batman stuff. I was really enjoying it. So it kind of sad to hear that they're gonna just reboot the whole thing. But I get it too. It's a business. If these actors are giving you problems, they're kind of forcing you to give them huge contracts. uh, Maybe it is best to just wipe the whole thing clean, get new, fresh, young actors in that you could tie down for 10 years and kind of build a big arc, a big overall arc, and do it again.
Yeah, I'm disappointed with what they're doing with Warner's animation group, the one that did all those animated DC movies. Some of those movies are like
They're really good.
way they're fucking way better than the live
Right.
action. They did a couple of Justice League Dark, a couple of Justice League with Constantine, a couple of the Supermans where he's doing his own thing in the Batman with more characters with like um, with when he turns into Nightwing, and I mean those were great animated movies and more, and they had more of adult themes. They were like PG-13, a couple of them. So I'm gonna be interested to see what Amazon does with them. And we'll go from there. And what's gonna happen to HBO Max? I think we're gonna start seeing more other media companies consuming or merging with other smaller streaming things, or eventually it's going to be like three big ones and that's it, because there's just too many of them right now, and nobody can nobody can afford $7 when there's like seven different ones or 10 different ones, you know.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the future holds for them. And it kind of goes back to the Hulu thing. The original idea of Hulu was a bunch of small companies getting together to broadcast their catalogs, and now it's kind of like the opposite. It's like these small companies are getting bought out by one huge company and making it to one huge conglomerate. And I don't know which is better, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's streaming's here and it's gonna stay, and it's killing TV, broadcast TV. So it's gonna be interesting going forward how this goes. And now it's even impacting sports. Yeah, it's live sports. So even that's a thing that's gonna be dealt with in the next coming years.
Yeah, man, I'm kind of worried about it, but at the same time, it's like it leaves room for improvement. Hopefully, we'll see what the new, I guess, reboot brings. Um, Marvel's not doing too well either. They have their own issues going on. A lot of their stuff has been failing lately. So we'll see what happens with the comic book world, what happens with HBO and all these streaming services. But it looks like that's going to wrap things up for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Freeform Network. If you're not already, you need to follow us on Facebook at Freeform Network. We're at Twitter as well, at FFR Podcast. And if you have any suggestions, any questions for us, drop that email at ffnquestions@gmail.com. From Freeform Radio, my name is Noel, and we have Daniel.
Yes, sir. Everybody stay warm out there. I heard the snowpocalypse is going to hit the Chicagoland area, so stay warm out there, man.
And we got Andy.
It's all good, Andy, and hope everyone stays warm. And these Midwest winters are here, and January is when it's the worst. But stay warm.
Definitely. Happy holidays. Stay warm, and we wish you a great night and a beautiful tomorrow.
That was cool, Dad.